What is up, YouTube? JankyYGO here. My name is Michael, and today I am playing Kuribohs. I'm using the new Kuriboh support, so I'm checking them out. Yeah, let's do this. Foolish Burial. And or Graveyard, huh? Let's get... We'll send a clear Kuriboh. So, since I have more, I can special summon good old Curry Babylon. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of the other Kuriboh support cards, so I'm gonna have to end here. Our opponent's probably gonna murder us, but you know, it happens. Oh, they're playing spellbooks. One of my own favorite deck is gonna crush me. Infinite impermanence, huh? But why? My opponent new to the deck? Okay. That seems unnecessary, really. Mm. Ah, Moonmere Shield. Nice. That might be another impermanence. Depending on the build, that also could be lose one turn, although I'm not sure many people play that version anymore. Um, yeah, we're just gonna set another Kuriboh card and pass the turn. We're kind of at this really awkward spot. Our opponent can't really activate can't really activate anything to us just setting a card. Unless they have, like, Fate. And Spellbook of Fate wasn't going to do anything in this situation except for force this into attack mode. But, you know, if you want to make us lose 100 by attacking to that, that's perfectly fine with me. The only issue that I see coming from this is that whatever this is could mess us up pretty bad. So we're going to use that effect. Um, we're going to float into Kuriboh. Kuribohs, if nothing else, they're super annoying. We're going to use Where Art Thou? Since we control level 1, we get to add a level 1. Oh, they have the Ash Blossom. Dang, dude. Alright, then we're going to end our turn. We don't need to do too much. This will get us our multiply, which will let us go off from there. Yeah, there's the blue boy. It's kind of interesting. I get to see someone, you know, else playing spellbooks. I don't usually run into anyone playing spellbooks outside of, like, an engine and everything of the blue boy, the knowledge, and you know, secrets to get them. The, like, 6 card engine instead of 9. Most people don't run 3 of each. But yeah, I think it's always interesting to see how other people play this deck since I play it differently. Well, it's just maybe just generic spellcasters. I'm kind of interested. And like I said, I'm interested in what they do. Yeah, it's just like Pendulum Magician spellbooks. Okay, I guess spellbooks are kind of an engine in this deck instead. Yeah, they're just generic spellcasters. Okay. Got my hopes up for a little bit. Although, spellbooks technically can be considered generic spellcaster support since since they work with just generic spellcasters. Randomly picks one, huh? This one. Thank goodness they didn't show Fate. Yeah, alright. Its effect's gonna activate. And we're gonna grab our multiply. Grabbing multiply so that when we use Kuriboh. So when we're gonna summon Kuriboh next turn. You know what? No, we're not gonna summon this. We're just gonna take the draw. I think that's honestly better. Take some damage. That's fine. Okay, 17 Kuriboh the cost. Okay. It does say face up Kuriboh. Alright, there's a downside. Normal summon. So the normal summon resolved. Next up, we use multiply. And we're gonna summon 5 Kuribohs. As possible. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna use some of them to start link climbing. And we're doing this so we can make big plays. I think our opponent is waiting for us to kind of, do something. I could have detonated there, but I'm going to detonate now to blow up this and then blow up this card. Impermanence, okay. 2, 4, 5. Boom. I guess it doesn't really matter, since I can attack over that anyway. So this is... we can't attack over this, but we have Sphere Kuriboh to stop them from attacking over us until we find an out to it. And I'm doing it this way. Yeah, okay. Yeah, alright. Moonmere Shield is a pretty good card. And I decided to do what I did because the way that they were acting seemed like they had a solemn strike. Instead, they had all 3 impermanences. Alright, so what is our opponent going to summon? Another Crowley and try to get Fate? I think that would be their best option if they did. Oh. Okay. So we're taking at least 3,000. Then we have to find a way to out this. Oh, well, they did it for us. Oh, no, dude. Yeah, alright. Warlord is like our only hope now. I gotta make sure this card's not unaffected, right? Okay, it's not. Fear Kuriboh. Just save. And you get this card into the graveyard. Get this card into the graveyard. I can survive another turn. I think. Can I summon this? I can. Alright. Let's activate this effect. We're gonna special summon this. Okay. So this card points to. You can only have one equipped. Alrighty. Let's just attack over this. We're going to use Sphere Kuriboh on this again. Another one. If they attack with this, and then if they try to crash, we'll use Kuriboh to, say to revive this. That's kind of what we're up to at this point. Hopefully, we don't get completely wrecked by that. Kuribohs are pretty annoying. It seemed like they'd be a pretty annoying deck to play against. It's just no. And now I can't crash. And they ran out of impermanences. So we attack. We attack here. Manhunt. Um, we're gonna set this card, and we're setting this instead of doing anything else. I guess we could link Kuriboh it, but we're doing this so that we have another chance. Kind of interesting to see that Kuribohs can keep up with kind of. Granted, it's a little bit jankier of a spellbook deck, but technically, I'd still consider it one. Okay. Unicorn? No, dude? Alright. We're gonna do this because we want this in the graveyard. I will survive. We're gonna activate this, make this card's attack 0. So when this card attacks, we're gonna use Kuriboh. And we're gonna... Yeah, it's fine. And that don't matter to me. Yes. We need Kuriboh, 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 Sphere Kuriboh, and yeah, we'll just summon all of these. All except for Link Kuriboh. We out here, dude. This. Now we get to add 2 cards. Another creep, or we're gonna special summon Kuriboh, because having that's in the graveyard for a backup plan is important, and then we're gonna get another multiply. Then we're gonna link summon with them. Boom, baby. Multiply. Alright, first things first, we're gonna activate this. Tribute this. Next thing, we need this. Gonna make a link spider with this one. Then we're gonna summon Boral Sword Dragon. Except we're gonna normal summon this so that we get the Boral Sword's 2 attacks. We're gonna attack this. Damage step, we're gonna take it. This is ours now. And boom, we got him. Whew, that's pretty wild. Now let's check out the deck profile. So we got 2 Curry Babylons, and we saw them both we saw both of them this game. We got 1 copy of Curry Bandit just because we actually kind of want the graveyard, and as you can see, we're not playing a ton of spell cards, but having our Kuribohs in our graveyard is not bad. 3 2 Ankh Kuribohs. It revives any monster from the graveyard except itself. And then, but you have to send it during the end phase. And then also, if it's destroyed by battle and in the graveyard during the end phase, you get to add a monster reborn from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So that can kind of enable our combo plays even more. Sphere Kuriboh is like one of the better Kuribohs out of the bunch. We could probably cut this and add more spells or trap cards if we wanted to. But I felt that, let's make it more Kuriboh-y. Next up, we got 2 of the OG Kuribohs. The OG Kuriboh, the OG Hand Trap, it's probably like one of the weaker ones for sure, but it's necessary, as you saw from the multiply combos, and it's necessary for one of the other spell cards in our deck. Next up, it's Clear Kuriboh. It stops effect damage, so it can help us, survive FTKs like the Abyss or Ogadrak Abyss, the reptile FTK. If we ran into that, this helps that. Plus, if they declare direct attack, we banish it, draw a card, and get special summon the monster. And as you see, we're running 28 monsters, so that's pretty likely. Kuriboh, the card that won us the game pretty much. So, Kuriboh is what enabled us to survive. It had its first effect, which we didn't use this whole time, but it still has a pretty good first effect, which is at the end of the battle phase, you can discard this card, then target one monster you're in your graveyard that was destroyed by battle. This turn, special summon it. So the reason we didn't summon another one and then try to survive with this is because, and bring it back, is because if we tried that, we would have lost against that 4500 Magician because we didn't have a lot of life points. But its second effect, as you saw, you banish it and special summon any number of Kuribohs from your graveyard. That is insane, and that's what kept us in the game. Next up, this turns all of our Kuribohs into floaters while it's on the field, and they float into other Kuribohs except for itself. Its second effect is you tribute it and 4 monsters from your hand or field, and it has to be Kuriboh, Kuriboh, Kuribet, and the original Kuriboh to summon our Babylon, which is kind of our boss monster for the main deck, since, as you saw, it gains 300 for each Kuriboh monster control or in the graveyard. So yeah, and it can special summon itself. So it has a way to get itself out. It doesn't rely on this having this card. Kuriboh. This card is what turns our Kuribohs when they're destroyed into our spell and trap searchers, which helped us get our multiply both times. And basically, and multiply is like scapegoat, so it can do a lot of really powerful plays. You just have to use Kuriboh as the downside. So we're playing 3 of it. Kuriboh. Kuriboh is our searcher. So granted, they have to attack, but we discard and add a Kuriboh, a monster from our deck to our hand. That can be any of our Kuribohs, except for, Kuriboh, Kuriboh, and Kuriboh. Oh, it's always treated as a Kuriboh card, so it can add any of our cards to our deck except for Curry Bandit, basically, and Curry Babylon. Those are the only 2 Kuriboh cards that we cannot add, but it does allow us to do that. Plus, we're not playing any traps, so its second effect isn't relevant for this deck. But if you wanted to play a Kuriboh deck with traps, you can target a face-up monster your opponent controls and make it lose 1500 by discarding a trap card. So, and it's traps with graveyard effects, so that's not bad. Next up is probably one of our weaker Kuribohs, which is you discard it to have your Kuriboh monster gain 1500 attack. So they go up to 1800. That's not really impressive. The reason it's in the deck is for some of the other combos in it, like Curry Babylon's effect to summon it, and one of our spell cards summons it specifically from the deck as well, and it gets us our 1 copy of Curry Bandit if everything happens to line up, and then we can normal summon an additional time if we want to go that way. Rainbow Kuriboh is kind of like our outlier. It's decent, like it can stop monster attacks if it's in your hand, and all that. And then its second effect, it blocks a direct attack if it's in your graveyard. Very good. 1 for 1 because all our monsters are level 1s. Same thing with Where Art Thou. Upstart Goblin because we needed kind of filler for 1, and for 2, we can deal over 9,000 points of damage. That's not really that big a deal. We might have to grind a little bit and everything, as we saw with that game, but the deck can kind of do that as long as they don't have a ton of graveyard disruption or a bunch of negation in general. Foolish Burial because a lot of our Kuribohs like to be in the graveyard, and Curry Babylon wants us to have more cards. So going first, as we saw in that game, we send a Kuriboh, one of the Kuribohs that care about being in the graveyard, and then we can summon Curry Babylon if we wanted to, if we're going first. And this deck does want to go first, because not because it can set up negations, but because we want our opponent to attack us. We want to attack us so we can get all of our Kuriboh's effects off. So we're a little bit reliant on our opponent, so we're trying to go first. And that kind of, with Curry Babylon and this card, it allows us to just summon it, which isn't great, but it's not the worst thing ever either. Monster Reborn, it's a play extender, and we can search it, so that's why it's definitely, we're definitely playing it. This card is the main reason why we're playing Curry Babylon. So if the only monster you control is a level 5, you tribute it, and then you special summon the Kuriboh brothers, which is Ba, Bee, Boo, Be, and Bo. From your hand, deck, or graveyard, and they can't be used for a tribute summon. But that's okay, because that's not what we're doing with them. We're using them to link climb, which this card doesn't restrict. Hey, same thing with this card. This card doesn't restrict It says it can't be used for tribute summon. That's okay. We're not going to use them for tribute summoning. As we saw in that game, we're going to use them to link climb. And that's why we have Detonate. Detonate is also kind of a last stand of popping a bunch of tokens. We'll have to. We will probably hardly ever use Detonate, but um, that's not just a blow up a token we don't need and blow up one of their things like we did in that game. But anyway, yeah, that's probably what we're going to use it for the most for. But there probably will be a situation where it will come out that we'll need to destroy multiple things. And even though I don't have a side deck built, that's an easy card to side out. Same with Upstart Goblin and probably Rainbow Kuriboh. And maybe like a copy of Sphere Kuriboh would be cards that you could side out if you wanted to build a side deck for this. Now the extra deck is where this deck kind of gears towards its win condition, because otherwise it doesn't have one. I could have put in BLS, Blacklist Soldier Envoy at the beginning in the main deck for that, but I felt like having an extra deck would be just better. And I could have played Scapegoat with this deck just so that I could be like, hey, let's flood the board with tokens and have like another multiply. I could be playing 3 multiplies, but I felt like these ratios were a little bit better instead of having to play 3 Kuribohs. Because if I played 3 multiplies, I feel like I need to play 3 of the OG Kuriboh. And Detonate kind of is a fine card, I think. But anyway, this card is mainly going to be used to link summon away problematic cards that your opponent summons. So if they have a monster that can't be like targeted or destroyed by battle or card effects, and has a form of negation and hasn't negated anything but allowed you to summon like your bunch of Kuriboh tokens and stuff like that, this card is going to be how we out it. Because we're going to use that monster for a link material, and then we're going to negate the rest of their board. That's what we're going for with this card. It's also just okay, and I like the card because it does negate graveyard activations, which can be relevant in a lot of matchups. This card is good. I shouldn't have to tell you how good Avermax is. So he's in here as another win condition. I couldn't think of another card that you could to throw in that would be good. So I thrown in Unchained Abomination. We don't pop cards, so it's not as good. But it pops cards on its own during the end phase. So yeah. During the end phase, you pop a card with it, and then you pop another card. So you kind of, on the end phase, pop 2 cards if we wanted to. That's what's here. Borload. It is one of our win conditions. As you saw, it outed our that 4,500 monster. We took control of it. It's a good way to get rid of monsters that can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. And yeah, Boral Sword is the main win condition. That is the basic kill switch. We're not playing Access Code Talker, and we're not playing Access Code Talker because of budget reasons. And I know that sounds kind of funny, considering the rest of our extra deck, but I think that a decent amount of these cards are cheap enough. Boral Sword you can get for like, I don't know, under $5. Boral Load I think you can get relatively cheap too. Avermax is pretty cheap. I don't know how much the Underworld Goddess is, so her and the Unchained Abomination might be the exception. I'm pretty sure Saryuja is relatively cheap again. I know that Appapalooza was for a while cheap, and I think she still is. I don't know how cheap he is either, but that's pretty much my reasoning for this instead of Access Code Talker, because not everyone has like $100 to drop on a single card, and I understand that. That's why Boral Sword's here. Boral Sword kind of fits that role anyway, and with Borload and Boral Sword, we can take their monsters and do more. Saryuja is just a good card. It draws 4, puts 3 back. I can set up our hand full of like good Kuribohs to like stop things if we need to, if we can't like keep going off of it. This is just our negation. Is Appapalooza. This is a good card. More removal, kind of an OTK as well. Yeah. Well, not kind of an OTK because it can't attack it get second attack until the next turn, but it still didn't seem that bad, and it's easy to summon. We Witch Apprentice, most of our monsters are darks, and yeah. The other option we could do is land Phalanx, just because that way it will always be live, even if we have like a field full of Kuribohs and Rainbow Kuribohs, but that's not very likely to happen since the rest of our deck is dark. And why are we not playing Allure of Darkness, you might ask, since most of our cards are dark? Well, two reasons. One, I didn't think about it until now. Two, uh, it's we don't really necessarily want to banish too many of our Kuribohs. Um, I mean, granted, we could probably spare to banish a few. Our light targets are these, so the rest of them are dark. So yeah, that's why we're playing this. Next up is 2 Link Spiders, decent card. It's mainly here for link climbing with multiply. And Link Kuriboh is our go-to Link monster just in general. It's kind of what helped us with Kuriboh, because they were going to spin this back to the deck, and we used Link Kuriboh to tribute it, so that didn't happen. But anyway, that's this deck profile. Tell me if you enjoyed this video down in the comment section below, and if you're excited for the Kuriboh archetype and the Kuriboh brothers. In my opinion, this deck is fun. It's not it's not like super powerful, and overall, try it out for yourself. Like I said, it's pretty fun in general. I had a blast playing this. If it's your birthday today, happy birthday. If you want to send me any more deck profiles or replays, email is in the description. I would love to see them. And of course, and as always, have a wonderful day.